Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Hi guys, good morning everyone. Karibuni for our service this Sunday morning. We are glad and happy that you've managed to join us. And today our conversation is going to be more exciting than before because the topic is a bit more personal, and I'm so sure it's going to touch each and every one of you. My name is Maluki Kimetu, one of the pastors here in Nairobi Chapel, and with me today I have wonderful and amazing people. I'll allow them to introduce themselves from my immediate left to my far left.
Good morning everyone. My name is Nigel Otieno, father of 4, 2 boys and 2 girls. I have a teenage boy of 17 years. Second born is 11 years, and the twin girls are 4 years. Thank you for having me.
My name is Michael Munene. I have 2 sisters, and one of them is called Michaela. The youngest is Michaela.
Michaela. Oh, so you just chose the youngest. The old one at
The old one, she's coming.
Oh, she's coming.
Yes.
She's not yet there.
She's coming.
Okay, yes.
My name is Kawira, the firstborn of 3. I have a younger brother, Michael,
Yes.
and the younger one, Michaela.
Oh, when do wakujitegemea?
Yes.
Oh, now we understand. Okay. Children are not little adults. And children are only children for a season. And another point we need to note is children are a gift from God. And we can see that from the scriptures, from the book of Psalm 127 verse 3, which I'll request Mr. Mike to read it for us so that we can be able to have a context of our conversation this morning.
Sons are a heritage from the Lord. Children a reward from him.
Please repeat again.
Sons are a heritage from the Lord. Children a reward from him.
Oh yes, children are
Reward
a reward
from him.
and they are what?
Gifts.
They are gifts.
They are gifts. So each and every one of us is a gift.
Yes.
Right? I am my mother's child. Right? As much as I am God's child, I have a parent. And also Mr. Nigel, as much as unaona ndevu mingi kwa uso, ni mtoto wa mtu. Are we
Yes.
together?
Yeah.
While growing up, I'm very close with my mother. And so I've been brought up by a single parent who's only my mom, and we are very close. So she keeps telling me stories. Some of them she keeps repeating. I don't know whether she doesn't recall she has told me the story, and others are new. But one thing that is common is I did that. In my time it was worse. You know, and especially when she gives me a responsibility and I tend to feel is above me, I try to negotiate. She ends up telling me I did more than even what I'm requesting you to do. And so in a way she compares what she went through with what I am going through. And I would like to read for us a few phrases and just think about them. If you're close to someone, turn to them and discuss with them and just get to hear their questions. Their answers, sorry. Have you ever been left in charge by your parents, meaning that everyone else can go out to play, everyone else can do whatever they like, but you have a specific responsibility to do, and therefore you're limited in your playing, you're even limited in of how you can enjoy yourself that day, because you know you can be held responsible if your younger siblings tend to, become naughty or mess anything that you are left in charge to do. Okay? Another one. Does the phrase "you are not a child" sound familiar? And this is to specifically the ones who are below 18 years old. You're 15 or you're 18, all right? Let's not even use Michelle. Let's use Mike. Mike, you have a younger sister, all right?
Yes.
But you do something and you're like, do you know you're not a child? And you're like, Mom, Dad, I'm only 13 years old. Of course I am
A child.
I'm a child. But does that phrase sound familiar? All right? And another phrase, I used to do more. I used to do more. I went through a lot. During our days. That one. Eh? Like earlier we were talking with Mr. Nigel and there's something he said very nicely. Eh? You're just being requested to go fetch water from the tap. You're just complaining as you used to go to the river. And the area you live around, there's not even a river. All right? But those are just phrases that I want us just to start thinking about as we continue our conversation this morning. Mr. Nigel, how was your childhood while growing up? Did you have siblings, older, younger? Did any of them take care of you or take care of any other? And how was it according to you?
My childhood was quite interesting. I was privileged enough to have 2 older siblings, 2 brothers actually, who from the onset, because I was a bit young, every other time when they wanted to go out, I will always tag along with them. At times not by choice, but it's because probably the mom has already done house chores and the house is clean and all that, and probably she just wants some time on for herself. So you are forced now to tag along with your siblings, and of course they are older. Their games are a bit rough and all that. So they used to be given that responsibility of just making sure that I'm safe, making sure that as much as they're playing, no harm comes to me. And of course, if I get hurt and probably I cry and something of the sort, being that I was young, of course I'll still go back and report it to my mom that this and this happened and this happened. So to some extent, they tend to feel like I was sort of a burden to them, in that anytime they have to go outside, they cannot play independently. They always have to look at where is that young guy. And I think to some extent also after a period now when they started now to be more of rebellious, and probably they took it that I'm a bit grown to play on my own. So the responsibility now was taken back to me, in that I used to have a younger sibling, a sister. So the responsibility now was moved from them now to me, taking care of my younger sister. In that whenever I go out also, it was now less like a routine. It is now my turn to ensure that when we go out, she's in safe hands. So I get to understand how that comes about.
Okay, good. And interestingly is when your elder siblings are playing their games, it looks more fun than the one you're playing.
True.
So you want to play them, but them they are playing choboua.
Exactly. So so you find that the games they are playing, yes, they are quite interesting, and you always want to join in. But there's that feeling that if we allow you to join into this, we know very well that you'll get hurt, and the minute you get hurt, that is now will be on our part. Because now when you go home, the issue is that why did you let him do this and this and this? Yeah, so it was quite I think it was quite tough for them.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Mr. Mike.
Yes.
Between you and your sister, who's more responsible?
I wouldn't specify, because we all have our privileges. She's the eldest, I'm the only son, and yeah, but the job is mostly hers. But I also have a big part to play because of in my father's family, I'm the only son. If you group the brothers together, I'm the only son. Yeah. So I have my privileges.
Some certain, do you feel some sort of responsibility that is placed upon you?
Yeah, because like I carry the family heritage. Yeah.
but you're doing it well. Michelle,
Yes.
picking on what Mike said, that you are the one who does more work. He says you share the responsibility, but work ni wewe. How does that feel? Where does it leave you? Always being left in charge. You're always responsible. You know, just the fact that you're the firstborn. We know you didn't send a letter, you didn't send a recommendation,
Yes.
but it just happened, and you can't run away from it. So how do you deal with it? How do you manage to balance?
Okay, sometimes it feels good to be left in charge, because you tell Michael to do this and he knows that I have to do it, because if I don't do it, trouble comes. But then sometimes it also feels burdening, because you're being left in charge of children and remembering you're a child also. So sometimes you forget that there's something I'm supposed to do, because you're not used to taking care of children, because you're a child also. And so sometimes I end up like either forgetting Michael and Michaela are around, or sometimes I forget that I have to take care of Michelle also, and concentrating so much on Michael and Michaela. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, interesting. I can imagine that, and that is what Mr. Nigel was trying to explain about the siblings, and also when the responsibility came upon him, that you tend to take care of the rest so much to a point where you're almost forgetting that you're a child also. You know, like they play, you're wondering, if I go to play with them, how will it go, and all those stuff. So I get you, and especially this time, Do you
Yeah.
guys have a house help?
We do.
Yes.
But during this time, she went to visit her family before the lockdown.
Yes.
And she got caught up back at home. So now more responsibility is placed on my hands.
Yes.
But I've also been getting help because I have my cousin around.
Oh, okay.
So we share responsibilities. But it's also tricky because now you have schoolwork.
Yes.
And learning at home is not easy. You're not used to reading from home.
Yes.
Have schoolwork, you have also your devotion life.
Yes.
You have Michael and Michaela.
Yes.
And you have the house to take care of. So one of them gets left out, one of those responsibilities gets
Yes.
forgotten. Most of the time I've forgotten Michelle. Like I'm figuring out how to clean the house, also read, also know where Michael and Michaela are, and you forget self sometimes. And then when you're trying to catch up with yourself, the other things get left behind. So it's tricky balancing all of them, especially now that it has come as a shock suddenly with no warning at all.
Yeah, like there's no prior preparation.
Nothing.
Pole sana, pole sana. Mr. Nigel, what would you have to say concerning the parents who have over expectations when it comes to their children being responsible? Like you have probably 3 children, there's an older one, there are younger ones, but there's no an adult. All of them range from the age of 18 and below, all right? And they just keep challenging them, and if I may use a heavier term, they burden them with the responsibility of being adults while they are still children. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that has an effect, and especially when you burden your child, especially the older one of the group. When you burden them with the responsibility of the siblings, one of the things that might tend to happen is that they tend to not really hate, but somehow will despise their siblings, because they will always tend to look at them as like a load, something that they have to drag through, and growing up you'll find that is now where probably sibling rivalry will come about, because one will look at the other as I cannot do my things because of you. So it's like you are a hindrance to my life, which is not good for kids. And we as parents at times we tend to we try as much as possible to instill some responsibility to our kids, but at times we go a bit overboard, because one of the things also, as we were starting, you mentioned, we also have that mentality, and that we always tend to like equate their lives with how they are being raised, or how they are growing up, as vis-a-vis how we were raised as parents. So you'll find that during our time there's a lot of strictness probably here and there, and our situations were a bit different, and you find that most parents went through quite of some hardship, so to say, that their children are not going through. So at times we tend to like try and instill that kind of hardship on our children, and we at times just lose it to that extent. So you burden your child with so much responsibilities, so much work to do, to the point that they even forget, they don't grow as children. Yes, we might want them to mature, and we want, you always want that aspect of my child is responsible and all that, but at what expense? At times we need to look at that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. To Michelle and Michael, do you know the difference between being responsible and being pushed to raise your younger siblings? Do you know the difference, or is there a difference? Just in your own way of answering it. We can start with you, Michelle. Now that somehow practical you're doing it, before we come to Michael, who also has to replicate the same thing to Michaela. Yes.
Okay, I would say the responsibility of being an elder child is that you're setting an example, and that there are things you're expected to do, to know how to do, like cooking and basic cleaning. But I would say raising your siblings is that you're making sure they have gone to school, they have done homework, they have eaten, and that you've cooked food, you've prepared, you've placed it there, but you're also making sure that they have finished the food, and you're basically taking the part of the parent, that when they go through something, you're the one who has to know first. When this has happened, like the younger one is sick and your parents asking, why is she sick? I mean, that's what I would see raising your younger siblings looking like. But being responsible is that you've cooked, they should eat. You have cleaned, they should know the house is clean, they don't dirtify, and
Okay, that's a good answer. Knowing how to help in the normal house chores, that washing utensils, cleaning the house, doing your own assignment, and also just helping in being an example to your siblings. And the other one, being pushed to raise your siblings, is now like you're the one in charge of them. And I think that's where Nigel's first explanation comes in. You're pushed to a limit where you answer for all their mistakes. And some of them, they do it knowingly, and they're doing it, wanting to do it. Okay, Mike, what do you have to add? Can you add anything, or?
No, I just think I should just support Michelle's explanation. Yeah.
Okay, so now this become a family affair. You're not supporting her because after here it's your responsibility to support her.
Yes.
Fika nyumbani za kupiga ngoto. Okay, Mr. Nigel, as we conclude, help us to understand, how do you manage to balance raising your children? Because the gap between three of them, because you have a set of twins who at least are in the same age, we thank God for that. And then you have Riley, then you have Daniel. Daniel is up there, in the next 1 year he's becoming an adult. Things, has it hit you that you have an adult in your house? You're heading there, Well, so how is it raising him and raising them? How is it?
Well, it's a challenge. It's really something. And I think since the time he actually broke his voice, you are in one room and you are hearing someone speaking on the other room, and you're asking yourself, nani ameingia kwa nyumba? Only to realize that it is your son. So it is quite a challenge, and I think what we've tried to do is that we've tried as much as possible just to make him understand that being that is the older one of the siblings, there's that aspect of responsibility that we expect from him. There's that aspect of basically just ensuring that they are safe, they are taken care of, because we've also fallen into that trap of like laying the burden on him in terms of things that he's supposed to do. Although we've tried as much as possible not to make it a norm, but you find that once in a while, we find that we probably are getting late, and food needs to be cooked or something needs to be washed and such like. So once in a while we give him that responsibility in terms that we are getting late, so ensure that food is there, ensure that they've eaten, ensure that especially his younger brother, ensure that he's taking a shower and such like.
That's all boys.
Yeah, so we'll always, whenever we come back, we always find that you can't miss some arguments here and there. That I told this one to do this, he was rebellious and all that. So we try to let him know that as much as you are responsible for ABCD, don't push it to the extent of, because we also found that having that he seems to be now the big one, he now wants to be like their parent. In terms of, if I say something and you don't do, I will now have to beat you. You see, because at times, because you see now they're also looking at him as, you are just our brother, so what are you telling us? No. So, and also on his end, he's trying to instill some respect to some extent, and also trying to ensure that whatever we told him to do has been done, so that when we come, of course, when something is amiss, we'll not ask the twins or the younger brother. We'll ask him, you as the responsible, you as the old one in the house, why did you allow this and this and this to happen? So in trying to basically just follow that, at times it becomes a bit tricky, but we try to let him understand that yes, we gave you this responsibility, but it is not, it is okay not to like have it fulfilled 100%. It is okay to fail here and there. We know if we leave you with the responsibility of ensuring that food is cooked, the utensils are washed, the house is clean, we might probably come and find that yes, you managed to cook the food, yes, but the dishes are still there and probably the house is still dirty. Okay, we'll not reprimand him because this and this has not been done. So we try to make him understand that try and do as much as you can, and don't overburden yourself. Don't push it to an extreme. Yeah, so we try to balance here and there. Of course, that is also based on our moods, because at times you might be coming in and you're frustrated with the work and all that, and you now start bashing. I told you to do this and this and this. These simple things that you're supposed to have done. And you see now that aspect of, in our days, now that is now where the context comes in. Yeah, because in our days, yeah, I used to do ABCD, I used to clean all the house all the way, and I'm only giving you a simple responsibility of doing this, and you can't do it. So it's usually here and there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. In the month of July, as Club Fusion and Vibe, we'll be talking about the fourth commandment. Who knows what the fourth commandment says? Mike, do you have an idea? You can just paraphrase it. You don't need to say it. Do you know? Okay, what does it talk about?
I think it's about obeying your parents.
Yes, sir. We'll be talking about that, and we will expound more on what we are talking about right now. But I just felt it is important for us to have this conversation, especially right now that we are all in the house. You know, our parents are working from home. We are not going to school. So as much as we are expected to do our assignments and continue with school, Michelle, because I know Michelle, you and school are friends. Like just books love you. You know, some of us books don't love us. Some of us, we are the ones who force ourselves on the books. But for you, the books tend to obey you, you know. And so you still need to do your assignments, you still need to catch up with your schoolwork, you still need to clean and do all those stuff. But the reality, if you picked from what Nigel was trying to explain, is you're the older sibling. You are expected to set an example for Mike and Michaela. All right? And there's some basic things you can't run away from learning how to do. All right? You have to know how to clean. You have to know how to make a simple meal. Because sometimes traffic can mess up your parents' schedule. And you know your dad is a medic. He gets an emergency, he needs to operate on someone. What happens? You become the parent and you take the responsibility. All right? And that doesn't, us talking about little adults, it doesn't mean that you are not supposed to help. Your parents expect you to help. As your pastor, expect you to help. Nigel, as an adult, expects every other child to be responsible in some sense. All right? It just comes with age. You continue. There's something Michaela can do, and she'll get away with it. You cannot get away with it. All right? But the reality, Nigel, now we come back to parents. Children are only children for a season. All right? You don't expect them to be as responsible as you are. All right? And we understand that God created parents and gave them children. And he forgot one thing: to give them a parenting manual. He didn't give them from A to Z how to parent. All right? He still expects you, when you hit a barrier, you run back to him for guidance. All right? So we understand that. So Michelle, mommy and daddy, they are just people. They are just human beings. All right? They were not born knowing how to parent. And you can imagine the years they've lived. There's a way they've been brought up. So there's a way they've been wired to think, and they've been cultured. And some of those behaviors, they will tend to come out when they are parenting you. And as Nigel has explained, frustration will come. Ameshinda hospitali, amesumbuka na watu, alafu anafika kwa nyumba. Anataka akuite tu, Michelle, give me that remote na iko hapa chini ya miguu. And according to you, how do you feel when that happens? Just be honest.
Sometimes just stand there and you're like, it's right there.
Yes.
I'm up there in my room.
Yes.
I may not be doing anything important really,
Yeah.
but I'm all the way in my room.
Yes.
You've called me and I've come
Yes.
quickly.
As possible, thinking there's an emergency.
The remote is right there.
Yes.
It's frustrating also. Eh?
I know. Remember, I've told you that I was raised up by a single parent. And I was the only child for a very long time before I found out I have siblings. And so, I used to make food. Actually, I learned to cook when I was it class 5 or 4? I could cook almost every meal. All right? I remember the first time I made ugali, my mother almost feared to eat it. Until when she took one bite, I was like, okay, not bad. But I used to make tea for my mom. She loves tea. Yeah, that's where I got the now you know. Eh? Now you know.
We know.
So she loves tea. So I used to make tea for my mother. And I'll give her cup of tea. And then she'll sit there and then she'll sleep. And she'll just doze off and sleep. And she'll sleep and sleep and sleep. By the time she's waking up to drink the tea is cold. So she'll call me back to come and warm the tea again. Like she could do like 3 times. And I never used to understand why. Until one day I started working and we had service here on Wednesday. So I went for high school ministry. Actually we did PPI, high school ministry. Then we came here, had service. Then I went home. I was so tired. So I decided, you know what, I'm so tired. And I've bought milk. I'm going to boil that milk, then go take a nap. So that in case if I don't wake up until tomorrow, it's okay, the milk won't get spoiled. And then when I wake up now, after the nap is when I'll make my food. See, I'm boiling the milk. I just sat on the seat waiting for the milk to boil. Smoke woke me up. I was choking. I woke up, the house was dark. Like the milk had boiled, risen up, poured down. The remaining one boiled until there was nothing in the pot. The pot was black. Sometimes I sit down in my house. I can see the food in the microwave. The microwave is telling me, toot, 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 come get your food. But I'm calculating the distance from where I'm seated to that microwave. And imagine my young age. Now imagine Nigel. He's been working the whole day. He's so tired to a point where he ain't even just eating that food. If only he could call Daniel. Daniel, please come feed me. It could be possible. So sometimes that is the reason. And I never used to understand that until when I now got myself a job and started working and started experiencing what my mother was experiencing then. And now I started experiencing. I think I've told you this before. Have you ever noticed why teenagers and children are not that friendly with their parents, but when they become adults and get their own children, automatically their parents become their best friends and they're taking care of them? It's because now they understand. It's because now they've figured it out. All right? So we'll expound more on it, on the topic, and we will talk more on us as children obeying our parents, because it is God's command. And also we'll get to talk about parents, all right, not provoking their children to anger and also playing their role, because all of us have a role in the house, all right? And so we'll just be talking more about it just to help one another, to make sure that we don't kill each other. Because at the end of the day, we have to figure out and come up with a way that we are going to make things work. All right? So thank you so much for joining us today, for coming and for being open, for discussing with us. Mr. Nigel will continue praying over you as you continue to raise Daniel and Riley and the sisters. May God give you wisdom. Yani, may just God give you wisdom. Yes. For Mike and Michelle, continue in what you're doing. I think, Michelle, your house help being caught up on the other side of the world, it was just God setting you up to grow to an extent where you could have not grown if she was around. So take it as an opportunity for you to become better even before than how you used to be. All right? And I can tell you're doing a good job. You know, I know Mike. So I look at Mike, I see you are doing a good job. Angekuwa natana na mimi mama Nigel, ningekuita kando mkutano. But I can see you're doing a good job. All right? So yes. Keep taking the challenge and learn as much as possible. And when you feel it's too heavy, just have a conversation with mom and dad. Sit them down and just talk, and just let them know how you're feeling and what you're thinking, and I believe they will listen. They will listen. All right? Si unajua ile masaa mzuri ya kumuongelesha? Wakati unajua. But don't do that when he's too tired, he's asleep, because you'll just be there. Yeah, we'll stop that. But when he wakes up in the morning, he can't remember what he said. All right? So thank you so much for tuning in and for following our conversation this morning. I want to believe that you've gotten some insight. You've gotten some answers probably that you've been asking yourself, like the answer that Nigel gave us, why parents keep telling us their experiences. Now you know why, all right? Now you'll tend to understand them better. And as you continue growing up, may just God give us all wisdom, our parents and also ourselves, that we may know how to respect one another, live with one another, and continue loving one another. Thank you so much. Until next week, may God be with you and may God continue blessing you. I'll request Mr. Nigel just to close for us with a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you. We give you thanks and praise for the gift of children that you've bestowed upon us. We pray, Lord God, that as they continue to grow, may you instill with them, in them the wisdom, the courage, the understanding. And as we continue to basically just teach them your ways and you're doing, Lord, we pray that may they fall under your feet, and may they just be a vessel that you can use, our King of Glory. Thank you for everything that you've done for us, and we pray all this trusting and believing.
Amen. Amen. Make sure to like our YouTube channel, subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment or our contacts. scrolling. They are passing down there. Make sure to get in touch with us, contact us, send a message, prayer request, any question to this amazing panel of mine, and we'll be able to get in touch with you and help you to answer those questions.
Remember to like.
Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe. You had better subscribe. See you.
And have a blessed week.